Hey guys, welcome back to ACR Outdoors. On this episode, I'm going to go over the training process that we used on Maxx after we trapped him from our previous episode, showing you how we trapped him with the Swedish goshawk trap. As I said in my last video, once we trapped him, we applied our band, we weighed him and put on his anklets and jesses, and he was then put into the giant hood in a dark room. It was a cool room, quiet and nice and dark, to keep them relaxed and so they don't stress too much. And then after the first 24 hours, we then attempt to feed through just in the dark room. So keeping the lights off in the dark room, you're going to approach the box quietly, and then you whistle or you use your command, your food command, and then you're slowly going to open the door. And on my first attempt to feed, I always use tongs. This way you can actually touch the food to his or her beak, allowing it to be comfortable with the fact that you're talking and you're not sticking your hand in there and kind of freaking the bird out. So I just find that process works. I know some people just go straight to trying to feed off the glove, but I prefer to use the tongs on the first night just for comfort for the bird. As far as how much food each night you're going to feed is going to be based on how heavy the bird is when it's trapped and how hungry it was when it was trapped. And this is also something that you're going to want to go over with your sponsor as far as how much food you should be feeding on a regular basis. Every bird's going to vary, so I'm not going to go over the amounts of food. I'm just going to explain the process that we use. On day 2, we continued the feeding process the same way, but except it was out in the mews, and this time I used my glove, and with a flashlight at nighttime, you can approach, slowly open the door with a flashlight, and you can then place your glove inside. So then moving on to night 3, the following night, we then approached, and now you continue to add a little more light. I then completely opened the giant hood so that he can actually start to come out. Good boy. And we worked on the process of him then jumping out from inside the giant hood to my glove. And at that point, he was successfully eating his full amount, jumping out with no issues. So then I started to free loft, and then the following night you would still go out in the evening when it's dark, so that you could go out with a low light flashlight, adding a little bit more light. Each evening that you're doing this, since now Max was comfortable with me, I could add a little bit more light to the mews and still out at night. We worked on him then flying sort of as far as we could inside of his mews. And that night it actually went very well, that he was back and forth as much as possible through the feeding of his tidbits. We did that same process for the next few nights, except adding a little more light each time. Once we had him flying with no issues inside the mews, from then we moved outside to a zip line style runner for him, which allows him to have a little bit of freedom of flight, but he still has to stay within the boundary limit that I kind of give him with the zip line. And again, when you first move them outside from the training inside, there's a lot of distractions outside. They want to go sit up in trees, so you're gonna have you're gonna notice that it's almost a different bird compared to what the training so far has been. So I find that first day outside, just spend a little bit of time putting them on the perch, feeding them a little bit on the perch, letting them know that it's sort of the same process. They're just outside. So that was our first try outside, and he had a couple short flights, but he spent most of the time actually trying to fly away up into trees and so forth. So we just continued to put him on. You just continue to place him back onto his perch and try to get him to jump to the glove, and you work on that. And then the following day we brought him back outside again for his second try, and he did much better, flying 10 to 15 feet with a little bit of distractions. We actually had a funny distraction where he was flying very well, and then he'd flown back to his perch and was looking, had his head sideways looking up and sort of towards the sun, but I couldn't see anything and he wouldn't respond to me, he just kept looking up, and then a few seconds later I noticed that there was 2 red-tailed hawks circling over our head, so he obviously picked that up and didn't want to come to me for food while they were circling over top. So once they left, he was back to normal and flying with no issues on the zip line. So then we followed up with one more day out on the zip line, which went extremely well. He had no real distractions. He had a couple flights where he just gets nervous sometimes when he flies towards me and decides to want to go past or over me, which we're working on, but it wasn't an issue of not responding to the food, so we did extremely well on that 3rd attempt. I consider that very successful. So then we had decided that today was going to be the day that we would free fly Maxx for the first time, and I will jump into that video now. I hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and the bell, and we'll see you on our next ACR Outdoors adventure. Thanks for watching. So we've got Maxx out, and he's actually not tied to me. He's just got his jesses on. So let's see how he does. Good boy. Okay, not really where you're supposed to land. Hey, come on. He's been silly that way. He's landed on my bare arm a few times, but he's actually really gentle when he lands, which is really nice, obviously. Good boy. Attaboy. Come on. Attaboy. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button and the bell, and we will see you on our next adventure. Here, buddy.